good, time zone Gen Friends, and welcome to CrossGen Friends, your gaming, pop culture, and tech podcast with a multi-generation point of view. I'm Byron Miller, and with me always is Joe LaRussa. How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing good, Byron. How you doing, buddy?
I can't complain too much other than it's almost winter, and I hate winter.
Winter and windy over there, isn't it?
It is. We're under a storm advisory, winter weather advisory, something like that. It's going to get cold, and it's very windy here.
Oh man, that's got to be rare for you in North Carolina, though, right? It's usually pretty nice there.
We get our days in the winter, but this
Yeah.
is colder than we expect in mid-December.
Fair enough. Well, Byron, I have one question for you this week. As always, what is your happy place?
Well, I got to see my bike friends this weekend. We had our little Christmas get together.
Bike friends. I didn't know you made friends with inanimate objects.
They are
I
not bikes. They are my friends who I ride bikes with. During the spring, summer, and fall, I have a group of close friends and we ride together. We're a part of a larger group that rides out of a local town, but there's about six of us who are pretty close and we see each other regularly. Less so whenever it's not riding with her, but we went out to a local Southwestern restaurant, had drinks, had burritos and tacos and so forth, and got to see each other when we planned out our next get together in January.
hmm. One time as a child, I put a smiley face on a piece of bread and I couldn't bring myself to eat it. So, you know.
Yeah, you need to distance yourself from inanimate objects.
I'm very bad at that. I'm very emotionally attached to many inanimate objects.
I mean, I
Just
love my bike, but it's still a bike. Like, I would be sad if it broke because it costs a lot of money and I may not be able to buy a new one right now, but it's still a bike. My bike
I
friends are human
attach,
beings.
I attach thoughts and memories of people to objects sometimes. So, for example, I have a pair of dress shoes. My real only pair of dress shoes that I wear is from my grandma, and she bought it like 10 years ago. And I don't like the idea of getting new dress shoes because grandma would have to buy them. So that's what I asked for her from her for Christmas was new dress shoes. Because I like to associate things with people. Same with my umbrella that I have. I have this wildlife conservatory umbrella that she gave me when I got my first car to keep in the car, and I still have it to this day.
That feels like the origin story from an episode of Hoarders.
I am a hoarder without hoarding as much as I probably would otherwise if I was really bad. I don't like getting rid of things. That's
When
just a yeah.
when we moved, we dealt with 19 years of stuff in our house, and I will never do that again. I have decided that I'm okay with severing my relationship with lots of things, and I have no problems throwing things out or giving away to charity or even selling it if I don't want it anymore now.
I thought you were gonna say you weren't gonna deal with that again, so you're not moving ever again.
No, no, I do my absolute best to not bring in things without getting rid of things just because I don't want to collect. My office does not have drawers, so I try to keep things minimal. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to keep things neat and clean. And if I have to move again, which I hope I never have to move again until I move into like an old folks home or something, hopefully I
Until
can
your
do it in a
son
minimal
kicks you
amount of
out.
box. Yeah, he won't live here after he gets out of college. So what do I care?
Oh
So how
goodness.
about you? What's your happy place this week?
Yeah, my happy place this week is actually Epcot. Mr. Disney over there. I know you know Epcot well. I sought your advice on a lot of things related to this trip. Uh, so you've been to Epcot a bunch of times, haven't you?
Many, 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 many times. I guess about a month ago was my last visit.
Yeah, I haven't been to Epcot in 15 years, maybe like 20 years even. I was a kid. I was a little kid when I was last at Epcot. We went to Epcot this week on Thursday. I took the day off from work and picked Thursday because it was the only free day that my fiance Jane in Florida here that she was free and I was free at the same time. And so Thursday was the best day for anything because it's also the middle of the week. It's nice weather, thankfully. It was really nice. And then the crowds weren't so bad. And I took her on a surprise trip to Epcot as first part of her Christmas gift. There is a second part. I'll talk about that once she knows what the second part is. But this was what I did for her for Christmas. I bought us Epcot tickets and I got us the lightning lanes and I bought us the single lightning lane so that we could ride the Guardians of the Galaxy ride in
But
reasonable time.
but what was the reason you went to Epcot? There was something that was going on, right?
Yes, the Festival of Holidays. Is that what it's called?
Festival
You
of
would
the
know better.
Holidays, but close enough.
Yeah, Festival of the Holidays
It's
was
my
there.
favorite festival in all of Epcot. It used to be Food and Wine, but now it's Festival of the Holidays.
It was really cool. I wish that we had taken a little bit more advantage of the food stalls that were there for the holiday seasons because we mostly ended up eating at the local regular places. We got a slice of pizza in Italy and we went to Chinese food for lunch, which ended up actually being really good, Byron. I have to say, it was still a typical small portion of food, unfortunately, but it was actually tasty, which I can say I would go back there without hesitation. I wouldn't be excited to go back because it was not the biggest portion in the world. But if someone said, "Hey, you want to go to the Nine Dragons Chinese restaurant?" I'd say, "Yeah, okay, why not? That sounds fine." Um, and then we went to Takume Te for our dinner, which, without going into too much gratuitous detail for people, don't do it unless you want to spend large sums of money for very small amounts of food. On
I've
a
not been, but it's super expensive and it's supposed to be super good.
It is very tasty. It is extremely tasty, I will say, but it is also extremely, extremely small portions. And as you said, extremely expensive. It is outrageously expensive. And the problem with it is really it's a pre-fee menu. You either you get two options, this price or this price, nothing else. There's no, you can add more money on top of it, but if you want to eat and you want to be there, you're spending this minimum amount of money, and it's a lot of money there. And I didn't realize that. That was my bad. Whatever. In the end, we enjoyed it, and Jing had a really good laugh looking at the tiny, tiny portion of food that was put in front of me. She just couldn't stop laughing. It was very funny. And then when I told this story to my mother in the car with Jing there, she started laughing again and could not stop herself from laughing. So, uh,
Well,
good food though.
the pro moves at Epcot when you're there for the festivals is to go to the festival booths. We hit the festival booths pretty heavy because for the most part the booths change every year. They've been getting a little bit lazy with some of them and having a lot of repeats, but the festival booth food is still pretty good. If you happen to be there in a non-festival time, there's a few resorts. The Boardwalk Yacht Club and Beach Club are a very short walk away, and they all have very good restaurants and very good bars that I enjoy. The food in Epcot's not bad. I mean, you can have a good steak at Le Cellier in Canada, but why do I want to pay for a steak at Epcot when I can get the same steak at a decent steakhouse somewhere else, or make a better steak myself at home? Like you said, the Chinese place, I've been there, but it's been 10 years, and it typically gets poor reviews. But it's just regular American Chinese food that you can get at the Chinese restaurant down the street. So yeah, the booths have good stuff, and if you go again, or if you decide to become an Epcot person like me, the booths are where to be.
The one thing we did get at the booth, this is the only thing we got at the booths, was the Japanese punch. We got their alcoholic Japanese punch at the booth when we were walking through Japan one time. Because the interesting thing with Epcot is you end up walking through the countries over and over and
Yep.
over as you're like trying to get to different places there. It was fun. We had a really good time. I think Jing really enjoyed her Christmas gift, so I was happy about that. And the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is really cool. It's very dark in there, and I found the angles weird. I wasn't really looking at the screens. I was kind of like watching the track as I was going because of where my head was naturally looking. I wasn't looking up, but it was a fun coaster. It was lots of spins and twists and dips and everything. It was
I
well designed.
I'm not so much of a Disney stan that I can't say that other places have excellent coasters, because they do. We have one at Carowinds near us, Fury 325 or whatever, and that is, people say it's the best roller coaster in the world, but in my opinion, Guardians is the best roller coaster. It's not the most exciting, but it's so smooth, and the fact that the cars move independently and swivel on their own, it's just so good. And people who don't like roller coasters can enjoy it. People who like roller coasters can enjoy it. The theming is fantastic. You say what you will about putting IP in Disney parks, whatever. I like the ride. I think it's great.
I like the ride too. My personal favorite coaster is still the Velocicoaster in Universal. I think that is so awesome. That is such an awesome coaster, and very it's very flippy and floppy, and the corkscrews and all that. It's a very exciting coaster. But I agree that the theming of the Guardians coaster is top tier. The whole setup. I mean, you really feel like what you're going through the things that they're telling you you're going through. So We enjoyed doing that a lot there, and yeah, it was a good day overall. I wanted to say, Byron, I didn't know that you park right next to the entrance, like the premier parking. We bought the premier parking. We were like like I could sneeze and hit the entrance from there, which is not like Magic Kingdom where we went to over summer, where you have to take a shuttle and a boat and a hike and a train, and
So
I know it's not that much, but
there's a long discussion about that, and I won't get into too much on that. The idea is that Walt wanted it to be special when you arrived at Magic Kingdom. So the idea was that you would come in on a boat, you come in on the monorail, and you would see the park, you would see the castle coming over the horizon. And I have to admit, it's really cool when you show up on the boat, but it is a headache to get there. And none of the other parks are like that. The other parks are essentially you park at the front gate and you walk right in. But yeah, Magic Kingdom is a headache, but it's also special.
I didn't know that the other parks were like that, and so I thought that they were all going to be like Magic Kingdom. So thank you for that information. That makes me feel better about going to any of the other parks and never going to Magic Kingdom again, because that's the kind of special that's really cool this first time you do it, and then the rest of the time you're just like, I just want to get to the park, man. I just want to get to the park.
If you stay on a Disney resort at a Disney resort, you get to be dropped off right at the front gate. So the one that we stay in every year for my race, they have a boat that goes directly in, and you can also ride
Mm.
the buses. And the buses for Disney pull right up to the front, which is really nice. And if you stay at one of the monorail resorts, you can monorail right in, and you can skip security because you've done security at your hotel.
That's cool. Yeah, we took the monorail in when we did Magic Kingdom over summer, and we took the boat out. Is how we did it there.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. Monorails are still cool.
Oh yeah, who doesn't like monorails? Is that a thing? People don't like
Some
monorails?
people don't like public transit, but I love the monorails. I just
I
think.
don't even count monorails as public transit. They're so unique.
Fun
And they're
fact:
really
Seattle has the first generation monorail that Disney had. The idea was that Disney was going to sell these to municipalities, and the company that they partnered with provided one to, I believe, it's Seattle. Maybe it's Portland. It's one of those northwestern cities. It didn't
Mhm.
really take off after that. So
Oh. Oh well. But yeah, that's my happy place. I know we spent a little bit of time chatting about that, but we got the biggest Disney fan I know in the chat with us here, so I had to talk
yeah, I
to you a
mean,
little
I
bit
could make it a
more.
Disney podcast, and I could go on for the next 2 hours and not run out of things to talk about. But I know not everybody's like that. So you ready to move
I would
on?
it would be very educational for me because I know very little about all of that stuff. So we can move on to the actual rust of the show here, and that is video games, pop culture, and tech. So I'm gonna toss it to you, Byron. What's going on in the world?
Well, in not so fast, my friend news, the Paramount has issued a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers. They have offered $77.9 billion compared to the $72 billion that Netflix has offered. Of note, the Paramount offer is a hostile takeover, so it's a direct to the shareholders request. It is not going through the board of directors and I guess the board of directors for their approval, because they already had said they wanted to go to Netflix. Um, One of the interesting things that I will lightly touch on, because this is not a politics newscast. Um,
We could make
the
it one.
we I don't want to alienate anybody, but Paramount has already been through a merger with the support of the current administration, and so they kind of needled a little bit, saying that essentially they were in good graces with the administration. They may be able to get the merger to happen whenever Netflix might, because Netflix is not in the same good graces with the current administration. So I don't know. I can't say I'm a fan of what's happened with Paramount and CBS, but I can't also say that I don't love the idea of Netflix owning one of the biggest movie studios there is. I don't like consolidation.
Yeah, the thrust of a hostile takeover versus a board takeover, for people who don't know, is that boards of directors are the individuals entrusted by the shareholders with the oversight of the company, which means that they have the authority granted to them by shareholders to do things such as sell the company or buy other companies or really just run the general business. They hire the CEO and they hire the C-suite executives, and what they end up uh, doing is what they are what is best for the shareholders. That is how it's supposed to be, and it's in the board of directors discretion within reason to make that determination. And so if the outside entity that's initiating the hostile takeover, in this case Paramount, feels that they are offering better bargain or a better deal to the board of directors than the one the board selected, they can go to the shareholders who are the ultimate authority on this sort of a thing. And they will, I don't know the finer details of where it would go because I've never been a part of one, but generally they approach the shareholders and say, you guys vote on this yourselves. Don't let the board of directors make the decision. And then the shareholders would be responsible for making that decision in the end. And uh, I I think that the reason that they say things about the administration in that way, Byron, is mostly because the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission and all these government agencies either will try to block something and make it more expensive and take more time, or they won't try to block something and it'll go through quickly. And they're basically hinting at fewer complications from the administration's agencies if Paramount is the one making the purchase instead of Netflix. And I don't think that's entirely wrong.
It's
I
not
don't think that's
entirely wrong.
entirely inaccurate.
There's other sub threads that I'm not going to get into, but by and large, a hostile takeover is typically more of a cash idea than a strategy idea. They say we can give you more money for your shares than you'll get with this other one, even though there
Yep.
may be other reasons why they took the lesser amount because they think it's a better fit and it's better for the overall health of the company. And stock prices will rise over time, and it may be worth more than what's being offered. But yeah,
Right. And then you get to situations like Activision Blizzard with Microsoft, where they just made a cash offer off the bat because they wanted to buy it and they thought the shareholders wanted to get out of the business after all of the controversies and difficulties that Activision Blizzard had been undergoing at the time. Bobby Kotick related things and other lawsuits and that sort of thing. So it all depends on the muckety mucks in charge of these companies and how they want to handle things, and all for the benefit of shareholders. And the only way to really know which one's the right call is just time. It's hindsight. It's a hindsight play,
oh, and
unfortunately.
the approval or disallow of the merger may not always be what's best for the shareholders. It may have some other nefarious ideas behind it. Yeah, I think we've beaten that one into the ground. Ready to move on to the Game Awards?
Yes,
That's the
absolutely.
big topic of the week, I suppose.
Yeah, it absolutely is the big topic of the week. So Jeff Keighley's annual showcase slash award ceremony, the Game Awards, took place on Thursday, December 11th. As is their tradition, Jeff has a whole bunch of reveals and announcements and games that showcase, and then he kind of slides awards in there every so often. Throws the big categories off to the side, like Best RPG just gets announced in a bulk list of other awards, that kind of thing. 11 years he's been doing that, Byron. 11 years, the biggest category other than Game of the Year, the biggest, the most beloved category gets shoved to the side. Just don't understand it sometimes.
Well, maybe one day you can make your own Game Awards and you can make it the most important category.
My dad wasn't big shot in IMAX. I don't have that kind of money. But yeah, so TGA announcements. Let's start with the big one, the reveal of the statue, what that was in the desert here. And we have a new Divinity. I've never played any Divinity. I don't think you've played much Divinity, but I know we both love Baldur's Gate 3. So what do you think?
Yeah, so I own Divinity Original Sin, the remake of it, and it's been installed on my computer for a while, but I haven't played it. I did love Baldur's Gate 3, so I think I'm going to find time to go and play Divinity. I know some listeners of the show
I will
are
too.
Divinity fans. But yeah, I love Baldur's Gate 3, so I will likely give them a shot if I like the Divinity here.
Is it a remake of it, or I think it's a remaster of Divinity Original Sin. I think they just like it's an enhanced edition of it, isn't
Enhanced
it?
edition. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
it's not a remake as much as it is a modern daying of it. I
Yeah,
think.
well, so Divinity Original Sin is not old. Divinity Original Sin is a 2014 or 2013 game. Because it's a prequel to the original Divinity. Divinity itself is the first game, and that is an old game, and that
And
is
well, there's Original Sin and then there's Original Sin 2, it looks like.
yeah.
So
So Original Sin 2 is a follow-on to Original Sin, but it is also the second latest game in the Divinity timeline. And I only know this because I have a lot of knowledge about random things that I don't know why I know. But it is the second to last game in the Divinity timeline.
it's
And the
2014, by the way.
Original Sin, yeah, and then Original Sin 2 is 2018, I want to say. Or 2019. It's somewhere before Baldur's Gate 3, of course. And between the two. Because they did Original Sin and then Original Sin 2 and then Baldur's Gate 3. So there was nothing else between there. So Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have much Divinity experience. There's a YouTube channel that I have started to watch over the last few months. I might have shouted it out before a couple times, but Mortismal Gaming. He is a CRPG PC focused channel, and apparently before he did that, and before he was a reviewer, his channel was a Divinity lore channel. So he has like a whole bunch of videos about Divinity lore, and he was very excited about this announcement. And he said that he's going to start refreshing some of those videos with either updates to content if there's anything inaccurate, or just making them new videos to increase their video quality because they're really old and some of his earliest ever made. So I'm going to be checking that out to try and get myself caught up a little bit on this. But I'm excited because I own Original Sin 1 and 2, and I've never had a chance to play them. I I was at a point in life one time, Byron, where I was between starting Pillars and starting Divinity. And I ended up going the Pillars route. So I became a big Pillars fan. And now I want to play the Divinities.
Sounds like we're both going to give it a shot. What's
Yeah.
next?
Uh so next up is Tomb Raider has two games announced, a new one in 2027 and a remake of the first game in 2026. I thought they both looked pretty great. Do you have any thoughts on Tomb Raider? Are you a Tomb Raider fan? What are your thoughts on the icon of Lara Croft?
I didn't love the original Tomb Raiders. They were okay. I played a couple of them on the PlayStation. I liked the remakes. I liked the remakes a lot. I played the first two. I never played the third one. My understanding was it didn't get that good of reviews, but the first two are just fantastic games. And I liked the less bimbo-y Lara Croft, who was more realistic, even though they spent half of the game just beating her up and stabbing her with things. And at the end, I don't know how she was alive, but they were very good games.
Yeah. So I have fond memories of those original PlayStation Tomb Raiders. I was a little kid when those came out, so I have memories of playing them with my babysitter's daughter, Kim, rest in peace, at the time when I was a child. And so I a lot of good thoughts of those. I don't have a ton of affinity after the PS1 era. I didn't like play the PS2 ones. I basically stopped playing Tomb Raider games until the reboot trilogy, and I played the 2013 one on Xbox of all things, on the Xbox 360, and I really liked it. I really liked that game. I never got to the other two games. I think I own both of them somewhere, but they just never found the time and just never had an opportunity for it. So I
They the originals
hmm?
don't age well. They're very clunky.
Yeah, they did the remaster of them recently, and they like fixed up some of those control issues, but I don't think that they like look much better. Like the looks of them is still pretty grody, still very PS1. So I will be curious how this remake is and if they do a good remake job on it. And I mean, I love remakes, as I said. So last week in our last episode. So I'm excited to see this, and I would probably check this one out. Even if I don't play the new one right away, I'm very curious how a remake of the first Tomb Raider would go and what they do to it. Are you gonna check either of them out?
I'll at least pay attention. I don't get too excited about most announcements until I've seen some actual review of it. Been burned way too many times by video game companies releasing half-ass games, or what do they call them, bullshots. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Well, speaking of announcements to maybe not get too excited about until we actually get to put our hands on it, Byron, what do we have next?
So I learned a couple things from the Video Game Awards. Number one, Wizards of the Coast has a game studio. I've been playing Magic Arena for a while, but I never really considered that to be a game studio type game. But they've announced two new games. The first of which sounds like it has Don Johnson in it, called Exodus.
I don't get the joke. Is that a joke? Don Johnson, that's Dakota Johnson's dad.
It is Dakota
Right?
Johnson's dad from Miami Vice in the '80s and some other things, but Don Johnson is a Hollywood legend these days.
But it's Matthew McConaughey in the game. Like
Is it?
it
It sounded like Don Johnson, so I don't know. I didn't look it up because it's a video game trailer, and I'm not going to spend the time on that. But
So, I want to say 2 years ago at the Game Awards, Matthew McConaughey came out and announced this game.
so 2023, he announced a game coming out in 2027.
I think so. Let's find out when it was. Let's see. Exodus reveal trailer date. Uh, let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's talking about the most recent one, 2023. Let's see. Yes, reveal trailer dropped on December 7th, 2023. Matthew McConaughey came out and it had a tagline of "Become the Traveler."
Yeah, just stop announcing games so early. You can't
Well,
keep excitement going that long.
part of what my understanding is that they announce games with little things like this as advertisements for job openings. Like they let people in the industry know that these games exist and try to attract talent to come work on them. That's why games will be announced publicly and then they just shut down for years because people are at work and then they come back and then they show them again. So that's my understanding of what this was when they formed the studio, because Archetype, the studio that is making us, only formed in that year. So they've been doing it for a couple of years now. And when I watched that trailer, I said to myself, the question is, do we get a date or just a year? I think they're going to go with 27. And I was right, 2027. I had
27.
just had this feeling that's what it was.
And too many of the games that they announced, and I guess we can talk about at the end, but they're just so far in the future. Like,
They are.
just like Grand Theft Auto. I mean, they had the best hopes with getting that out, I guess, this year. And yeah, I don't get too attached to video game release dates anymore.
Yeah. But what's our next Wizards of the Coast announcement, Byron?
So I do know the person who stars in this one because they brought her out. Everybody's favorite Cylon, Trisha Helfer, is going to be starring in a game with a Tool soundtrack that is a goth D&D game called Warlock.
I had no idea who that was.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you haven't seen Battlestar Galactica from the early 2000s is one of the finest TV shows ever made. It had its down parts in certain seasons, but by and large is just amazing television. And the bad guys, without ruining the plot of it, are the Cylons. They're robotic android type things, without getting into too much detail about robots versus androids versus humans, etc., like we did last week. But yeah, she was one of the big stars of it, and she's going to be playing a goth mommy in this game.
I always mix up if it's Battlestar Galactica or Babylon 5. That was the show that thought it was going to get canceled after a season, and so they wrapped everything up and then it made like the greatest season of all time, and then they got renewed for an extra season and they had to think of a plot line for it. I
That's got to
think
be
it's one of
Babylon
those two.
5. Battlestar Galactica, I mean, it strung out a little bit, but they had a plan for all of it.
Yeah, one of those two is that I've never seen either of them. I remember that story being told on a different podcast that I listened to. Yeah, so it's a Tool soundtrack and hopefully goth D&D Warlock you wrote here. That's are you a Tool fan?
I think Tool does the best hooks of any band that I'm aware of. Sometimes Tool is a little bit too creepy for me, but I'm a fan of a lot of Tool music.
Did I ever tell you I saw Tool live once?
I'm honestly surprised.
I am too. No, my I went to a Gov Ball in New York City, and they were one of the headliner performers at the music festival there, like 10 years ago or something, a long time ago now. But yeah, Warlock looks super interesting. But it's clearly early. They didn't tell us anything about this one, so I don't expect to hear from this until maybe even post Exodus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess up next is, I believe, a sequel to KOTR, Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic.
It's a spiritual successor, is what
Spiritual
I
successor.
saw online from KOTOR. But yeah, I'll believe it when I see it in my own hands, because I don't believe it. I don't believe it yet because I know it's Casey Hudson. I know people are excited. I know he's saying that it's not going to take 5 years to develop it on Twitter and things. I still just don't believe it because as you said earlier, we've been burnt too many times. We may be of different ages and different generations, but we're equally cynical about the games industry.
Not equally. You still pre-order games.
I do pre-order games. That's true. I do pre-order my games because I'm gonna play games whether they're good or bad most of the time if I'm interested in them. It just depends on. I mean, I will say, as I have aged and tried to manage my time better, I do, and money. I do not pre-order certain games if I don't think I'm gonna have the time for them right away. Like I still don't own Digimon's Digimon Story Time Stranger, but I want to play that game and it's been on sale. But I'm like, I don't have time right now. I'm not gonna buy it. Um, have you played the KOTORs? Did you play KOTOR 1 and 2?
I never did, and I think that I probably shouldn't. I believe that I own them, but they're probably aged so bad that I shouldn't. Like you used to be. I used to be worse with buying games, and so we've talked about it. My Steam backlog is huge.
Yeah.
But no, I have not.
I haven't either. I really hope we get the remakes of KOTOR. I know, remember that a couple of years ago they announced the KOTOR 1 remake by Aspire, and then that exploded or imploded or whatever. And it got not canceled, but it's not with Aspire anymore. And I think the story that was going around recently was that in some lawsuit filings, because they released KOTOR 2 on Switch and promised that they were going to release the cut content and then decided not to release it, and then people sued them over it. And then in those lawsuit filings, they indicated that remakes of KOTOR and KOTOR 2 are still ongoing. So that's exciting. I would love to play KOTOR. KOTOR is BioWare, and I love BioWare. So just playing a remake of seeing what their vision is with modern graphics and modern gameplay is really exciting, and I hope that they come true. And then maybe they'll come out before Fate of the Old Republic, which I guess we're calling FOTOR. Before, hopefully, KOTOR remake comes out before FOTOR, and then I'll be all caught up.
Yep.
But let's move on to the next one. What do we have next?
Looks like we have a new Resident Evil game coming out. Back to our double protagonists.
Sure, looks like more Resident Evil.
Yeah, and I used to like Resident Evil a lot. Resident Evil 2 is one of my, I guess, is my favorite Resident Evil game. As of late, I've enjoyed watching people play it on YouTube more than I've enjoyed playing it myself. And I didn't buy the latest one, but Markiplier had a lot of fun playing it, and I liked watching that. I tried to play, I think 6 was the one before that, and
No, 7.
no, it was Village was 8 or 7.
Village is 8.
The last one that I got, and I think it was a free Epic game, was the one where you're in the house rescuing your girlfriend. And I played it, and I was like,
That's 7.
I don't dislike survival horror. I loved Alan Wake 2. Parts of how they do Resident Evil, I don't love, like being able to save only in certain places. And I think you have too little ammunition to be fun to me. But like I said, I like watching other people play it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you enjoy it. I don't play Resident Evil. I don't have any interest in Resident Evil games, really. I don't do survival horror or anything like that. So for me, not that big of a deal. I know there's a lot of people that love it, and I've heard most people love Village, and most people love 7. So maybe try Village because it's supposed to be really good.
I
And you've
watched the
it,
entire playthrough, so I know what happens, and it's a good game. Things get a little weird though, but yeah, that's something to dwell on.
Things get a
time,
little weird in a game about a zombie making virus. No, you don't say.
Yeah, it goes from being a simple thing to being cults and more magic, and it's like I liked it when it was a virus that turned people into zombies. That was better to me.
That's fair.
Yeah. So what do you have next?
Yeah, next up, Control Resonant, which we talked about a couple weeks ago when the rumors of this started stirring. But Control Resonant, starring Jesse Faden's brother Dylan. Jesse's voice is heard at the end of the trailer, so she is somewhere in the game, but she has gone rogue / fishing, according to the subtitled board of the game in the trailer. I don't know if you saw that or not, but that's what the board said. The director has gone missing or gone rogue. So we have some more information here from Game Informer, which says Remedy Entertainment has finally revealed a sequel to Control and its melee action RPG called Control Resonant, starring Jesse Faden's brother Dylan, set in a twisted version of Manhattan. It continues on to say that with a summary of the trailer, and they go on with additional information here, saying behind closed doors virtual preview of the game, the creative director Mikhail Kasurinin,
They're Finns.
Kasurinin calls Control Resonant an open-ended game, and it's not an open world one, complete with side stories, secrets to uncover, and more. He also says it's a melee action RPG, not an action adventure game, as he calls Control, with, quote, more meaningful progression and real choices, end quote, alongside, quote, distinctive builds, end quote, that complement various gameplay styles. This game is set 7 years after the first Control, Jesse has mysteriously disappeared. The oldest house lockdown has fallen apart, and the Hiss have spilled into Manhattan, warping the city into something far more remedy. What do you think?
I loved Control. I I really love parts of Alan Wake 2. And the thing that gives me pause is I liked the real world small town Pacific Northwest FBI parts of Alan Wake 2. I did not enjoy the Alan Wake parts that were set in New York City as much. That was the twisted version of New York City. They just weren't as much fun to me. So that's what gives me pause about this. I really would have liked another Jesse game before we moved on to a different protagonist. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I'm open to the idea, and I'll definitely look for reviews because they do a good job.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they did not have Jessie as a playable protagonist at all in the game because she's very popular. I like Jessie. I think you like Jessie a lot too, right? She's
Good
a,
character.
a very good character, yeah. And I am excited to hear that the game is a little more action RPG-ish because I think that's a good twist. I think that's the strict upgrade tree of like the guns, and that was pretty much it for Jesse with some additional, power upgrades along the way was cool, but I'm curious to see how they expand that into Dylan. What do you think?
Like I said, I'm open to it. I'm not going to get excited until it gets closer to being released.
Sure. I mean, but what do you think about the concept of like the different switching gameplay, the away from the sidearm and into like a different style?
I liked Control. I like the gunplay, and meshing your gunplay with your physics altering powers. It's like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too excited as of yet. I'll wait to see something about it. Just that's my standard thing of most things that aren't Horizon or Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's fair. I can understand that because I also really like the gunplay. I thought that it felt really good, like zipping around as Jesse and shooting the weapon and all that stuff with your powers. It felt good. So I'm hoping that they can take that feeling and just expand on it, and maybe you have the sidearm or some sort of similar gun. I know they're calling it a melee game, so maybe there is no gun anymore. I'm not sure. That's just something we'll have to see in the future.
I mean, I'm somebody who played with the wrench um, in brain fart about the game where you're under the sea in Rapture.
BioShock.
Bioshock. Good Lord, Byron. Yeah, I played the entire game almost solely with the wrench because it was that good. So I liked having melee and magic powers, but like I said, control. I liked being able to fly around and shoot stuff.
Yeah. All right. Next up, back to you, Byron. Let's go through just a couple of release dates here from
Yeah.
the Game Awards of what's left to discuss. So just some things that we think are worth noting that were given actual dates, which is really cool, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, it looks like Solasta 2 has a release date of March 12th, 2026, and so does Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight in May 29th, 2026, and Phantom Blade Zero on September 9th, 2026. So at least we got some games coming out in 2026.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. I may be interested in the Batman game, but Phantom Blade Zero looks pretty awesome. That one's so far away. I like that's like almost a year. I would expect that to be delayed. Do you know Solasta? Do you have interest in any of these games here?
I have played enough of the Lego games that I don't have another interest in playing more of those games. Really, they just seem to be
Hmm,
repeats of the previous game with a different character in it.
fair.
They were fun,
What about
but I don't know the other games, so um, I'll have an open
so
mind.
Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG, like I don't know if it's an action RPG or if it's a character action game. I just know that they made it very clear that it is not a Souls-like. It's not a Souls-like. They made it very clear. It's not that challenging. It's supposed to be more accessible and fun and actiony and cool moves and everything. So I think that looks pretty fun. I'm excited to see more of that as we get a little bit closer and see what reviews say, because that's definitely one that I'm interested in. Are you at all familiar with Solasta though? Do you know
Nope,
Solasta?
haven't even heard
So
of it.
Solasta, okay. So Solasta is a CRPG, like the Baldur's Gate and like Pillars and Divinity and all those. So you may be interested in it. I have never played Solasta, the first one, but it was on sale during the holiday sales recently, and so I did pick up that first game and all of its DLC for like $30, I think, $31. Uh, because this game looks awesome. This one looks really cool from the what I've seen of it, and I shouted out earlier in Mortismal Gaming. He has been covering this game, and that's how I ever first heard of Solasta 2. And I watched a preview that he did of it, and I thought it looked cool. And then he said that Solasta 1 is pretty good, worth playing. So I went back and bought it. And so when I'm home, I'm gonna give Solasta 1 a shot. And heard some chatter in some discords that I'm in that Solasta 1 is pretty good as well. It's just a normal fantasy CRPG, though. It's exactly what you're thinking of when I say computer role playing game that's a fantasy. So you may enjoy it if you like those Baldur's Gates and Divinities and all that. It may be fun. And your whoever your friend is or viewer of the show who's a Divinity fan, he might like Solasta. I would ask him about it if he's seen it.
He probably knows about it. He plays a lot more than I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I would ask him for his input on it then, because he would probably be able to fill you in a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to Phantom Blade Zero when it comes out. I've been excited for that for a while, and yeah, that's all I have to say on that one. Anything else, Byron, to talk about for the Game Awards here?
And to me, the most exciting news is X33. Clear Obscure won 9 awards, including Game of the Year, because it really should have. It's the best game of the year. It's the most well-rounded game of the year, and they deserved
Uh-huh.
everything they got. I think the only thing they missed was sound engineering.
Uh-huh. Your universe must be so fascinating. Do pigs fly there too?
Well, the entire gaming community seems to be on my side with the award wins. So um,
It's so funny
you
you
don't
say
have to
that though.
like it to acknowledge it's a great game. It's not a perfect game. It's not technically flawless, but all around it is an amazing game, and they
The
deserve
thing is, I
everything they
agree
got.
it's a great game. That's the thing is, I agree that it's a great game. It's just not as great of a game as people seem to think it is. And I know the critics agree with you, but I know at least a half dozen people, including myself, I guess, but I know a half dozen people who really like the game and say it's not as good as other people say. So my circle of people that I've been hearing from is a mix of people who absolutely adore this game and who think it's pretty great, but not worthy of a Game of the Year nomination, or not worthy of a Game of the Year win. Nomination, absolutely, absolutely worthy of that. But in no universe, yours, mine, or any other, is it the best narrative, because it's not.
I
You
think
can
it's a
say
good
it's
story. I think it's a fantastic story,
it
and it's
is a good
imaginative.
story,
It's
but
creative.
it's not that imaginative. It's very very obvious.
Obvious doesn't mean not good. There's plenty of
It doesn't
things.
mean it's not good. It's just
Isn't it
obvious. It doesn't.
kabuki
It's
where
not.
you know how the story's going to go? It just depends on how it's executed. Is what makes it good.
It's just not that creative of a story. It's a creative universe. If it was best world, it would win in a heartbeat. It's definitely the most fascinating world in the Clair Obscur world, 100%. But what they actually do with the story and where they take that world, it just drops off a cliff for me and for a bunch of people I know. Oh well.
There's an
What do
insignificant
you
number of people who, or not insignificant number of people who think the PT Cruiser is a pretty car, and you can join them on that side.
even know how to respond to that, because I couldn't picture what a PT Cruiser looks like if you asked me to.
It's
So we're
hideous.
just gonna let's just let's just move on to actually one last thing.
Speaking of things that Joe has strong opinions on and may be wrong, go ahead.
We saved my favorite announcement to talk about for last. Gang of Dragon, the best announcement with the absolute worst name in the world. My goodness, is this a terrible name for a video game? But Gang of Dragon from Nagoshi Toshihiro-san, the creator of Like a Dragon, the Like a Dragon series, and founder of the Ryoga Gotoku studio, which itself is a merger of some much older studios in Sega. The game is definitely 100% totally not a Yakuza game. Nagoshi rose to chief creative officer of Sega and stepped down in early 2021 and left the company after more than 30 years in late 2021. Gematsu has more on this awesome looking game. So here in Gematsu's article, it says that Nagoshi Studio, led by the series creator Toshihiro Nagoshi, has announced a Kabukicho set action adventure game, Gang of Dragon. Kabukicho is the real life district that Kamurocho is based off of, which Kamurocho being the main setting for the Yakuza games. Uh, Nagoshi-san says in a press release, "I'm both relieved and deeply focused as we finally reach the day to unveil Gang of Dragon. This project depicts with unwavering honesty the lives of outlaws who inhabit the real streets of Kabukicho. Through gameplay, my team and I are committed to delivering a powerful new human drama born from this world. What is shown in this teaser represents only a small part of what Gang of Dragon truly has in store, and we look forward to sharing much more with you in the future." And then an overview of the game provided on Gematsu via Nagoshi Studio says Gang of Dragon is a new action adventure game set in Kabukicho, Shinjuku, Tokyo's iconic nightlife district. Protagonist Shin Ji-seong is a high-ranking member of a Korean crime syndicate and is portrayed by celebrated Korean actor Ma Dong-seok, Don Lee. Players will engage in visceral hand-to-hand combat, showcasing Shin's overwhelming physical strength, while also wielding swords, firearms, and unleashing a wide range of combat techniques. Additionally, players can race through the vibrant streets of Shinjuku, experiencing exhilarating high-speed car chases. Lastly, the game's scenario and overall direction are led by Toshihiro Nagoshi, who is widely recognized for his emotionally rich, character-driven storytelling. Their new story will engage players in an exciting way and showcase incredible graphics for an action-packed adventure. And incredible is spelled Increadible in this statement from Nagoshi Studio, which I find very funny. And that's okay because English is their second language. So, Byron, what are your thoughts here? Give it to me.
I think that's way more time than it needed to be discussed because I don't care about the Like a Dragon series much. I tried to play it. I don't enjoy it. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's still a little early for the game. I look forward to hearing what you have to say about it.
I don't know how early it is actually. I'm curious because they've been doing this for 3 years or 4 years now. So we may see this next year.
They seem to put out 5 or 6 a year, so maybe so.
Well, the Yakuza games do. That's true. But I'm surprised that you don't like the Like a Dragon turn-based games. I know that they're a little silly, but you love turn-based stuff, and Final Fantasy is super silly.
Bits and pieces, but not as a whole. I just, yeah, I did not enjoy it. I don't have a lot of desire to continue on with it.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
I
I
tried.
definitely understand that. You did. You gave it a shot. How many hours did you put into it? Do you know?
Probably 15 to 20, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You gave it a good shot. I have no objections to you saying it's not for you. I always encourage people to give it a shot because I truly love those games. But if you don't, that's fine. And this one's different because this is more of a brawler. This will be more like the traditional Yakuza games, not the newer turn-based ones. So that's exciting for me. And I think that's cool to have it in the real town, the real city, instead of the, you know, fake version, which is Kamurocho. So, but that's it for the Game Awards. Anything else you want to say on it? Any other thoughts? Any closing? Did you enjoy the show? Did you watch the whole show?
No, I didn't watch the show. I was
Oh,
watching something else. I was streaming on Thursday, actually, and I caught up on the clips afterwards. I couldn't care less about award shows in general. I'm curious to see who wins the Academy Award, who wins Oscars, but I'm not going to sit through the entire thing to watch Will Smith slap somebody. And same thing with the video game awards. Like I turned the stream on and said, okay, cool. And that's about it. I watched the things afterwards. I'm not going to sit around for 3 hours to watch people talk about that.
that's fair. I watched it at like 2 times speed because it was on the EPCOT day. So I came back and while Jing was off doing her Jing things in the other room, I watched the show at 2 times speed before bed. And I fast forwarded through things I didn't care about, musical performances, mobile game trailers, all that stuff. But that's it. That's another TGA's. Next up will be Summer Game Fest in June. Get excited, everybody.
I am.
Yeah. All right. So let's move into what we're playing. Byron, let's hear from you first.
Yeah, I've been putting more time into Nier. I've been either recording or streaming whenever I do it, as what I told people I was going to do. I still enjoy Nier. My critiques about it is they give you abilities, game abilities, or character abilities in kind of drips and drabs after, gosh, probably 15 hours of playing. If you go back and look, maybe not even that much, but I finally got fast travel, which seems rough because when I'm streaming, I'm having to talk through some of the running around the countryside, and it's ponderous to do that. I mean, I talk about hanging out with friends and who I talked to today because there's not any gameplay to talk about while I'm wandering through stupid fields. So I'm looking forward to having fast travel. I really like the top down and kind of side scrolling shooter aspect of it when you're in the ship, and I wish there were more. But I don't dislike the combat. It's still fun. I like the characters. I'm kind of curious into the backstory more, and I'm not going to investigate until I'm finished with it. But I think it's interesting. You've got the S series and the O series who seem to be more human like, and then you have the B series who's very much robotic and doesn't have emotions or feelings. Um, so yeah, I'm curious about that. And by and large, they treat most of the androids as if they're human characters. The environments are cool. I got to a robot amusement park. I think the episode is called "Going to Robot Disneyland." But it's a good game. It has pretty good dialogue. I'm always a little trepidatious about where I am with camera angles in the game because they make the characters so overtly sexual, and I don't want to get like a YouTube flag for not being appropriate for kids. It's not designed for kids, but I'd like them to be able to watch if they so choose. So I try to keep my language clean, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, they go out of their ways to make things kind of sexy, which is just weird to me. But I guess they know their target audience.
So are you saying we shouldn't stream Stellar Blade on our YouTube channel?
I mean, if you want to, fine, but I don't know how YouTube flags things for adult content, but
I have no idea. I don't know. I like Stellar Blade. I played that game. I watched Jing watched me play that whole game. I showed her the demo in May, when the demo came out. She's like, I want to watch you play this. And I was like, okay, sure. And then literally she sat next to me the whole time I was progressing the story, watching and enjoying it. And she liked the costumes. She would like pick the different outfits. She'd put Eve in like the bathing suit outfit sometimes, or one of the funny looking outfits, and run around like that for a little bit. It's good. I like Stellar Blade. So let me ask you about Nier and this field running. Are you doing anything? Are you like in
no,
combat?
no.
There's no
There,
you're
there,
literally just
there
running.
is combat that can pop up, but like it's not difficult to avoid it if you don't want to fight the monsters, which are
Mhm.
essentially robots in there. So you don't have to do combat, but there's
Is
just a
there a
lot of
reason to do
running.
combat?
You level up with
Okay.
combat, but my understanding is the game has a sliding difficulty scale, so monsters should be leveling up with you. Um, I've seen evidence that isn't necessarily true. At level 10, I ran into some level 35 enemies, and I was able to kill some of them just by kiting them and shooting them because you have your swords as your character, but you also have a pod that shoots machine guns and laser blasts, and it
Hmm.
doesn't do a ton of damage without the laser blasts, which are on a timer. So if you're decent, I don't remember how to lock on, but you can strafe and kite and just sit there and shoot the stupid things until it dies 10 minutes later. And I have run into as something as being level like 10 to 12, where I've had a level 4 bad guy where you just kind of swipe
Hmm.
twice at them and they fall over dead.
Okay.
You do get parts, so you get drops for it that are required to upgrade your weapons, which has been really I guess really miserly in my opinion. The amount of drops that you get. I upgraded the main weapon, the katana, once, and I'm like halfway through finding anything to level up again. The second weapon that I bought, I'm probably halfway through finding enough materials for it. So yeah, don't be so stingy with your drops, please.
Yeah. I asked that question because I'm playing Trails, which we'll talk about in a minute, and I've noticed that I try to fight everything or almost everything at least once when I run through, because I never want to fall behind in levels, because it's an RPG, and you need to get your stuff, you need your money, you need your upgrade materials, all the same things you're talking about, the levels. Like, I need all of that stuff, so I'm fighting the enemies even though I could very easily avoid them, and do avoid them when I'm on like run backs or doing a second run through something. So I was just curious if there was a particular reason to fight them.
I'm kind of like that when I'm going through the first time. I try to fight things just to get a gauge of where I am and if I need to be concerned about my level. When I'm just going
Yeah.
back and forth to turn in quests, I'm just running.
Yeah. And you just got the fast travel, so that's good.
Yeah, and the fast travel opened up every in the game. You have these vending machines. They're not really vending machines, but that's where you can save the game, because you can only save the game in those places, and those are also the fast travel location. The map is not the greatest, but it's adequate enough to know where you're going to fast travel. I think I stopped
Mhm,
playing when I
mhm.
got fast travel just because that was the time that I had.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. So you're enjoying the game so far.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. That's good. And what's your next stream? You gonna stream again this week?
I don't know if I will stream before Thursday if I get up early for work and don't go for a run because it's dark and cold, or if I don't lift weights. And I may record in the morning and post that. So we'll see. Like, subscribe, you'll get a notification for the content. But otherwise, I'll plan on 7:30 Eastern on Thursday. That seems like a
Sounds good.
good day for me to have free time to play for an hour to hour and a half to 2 hours.
Good, good. So what else you playing?
I haven't done much of the crew this week. My son bought it, and he's going to be home, I guess, on Friday. And so maybe we'll try to form a crew, and he can play from the other room, and I'll play from this room, and we can see each other in the game, even though we're not seeing each other from down the hall. I still like the crew. There's no reason why I haven't been playing other than just time. Um,
Hmm,
I
hmm.
typically like to have a game that I'm spending time on, and then I like to have a game that I can pick up and put down whenever I have a free 15 to 30 minutes or so. So I did load up King's Bounty Cross Worlds that I had sitting in my Steam queue. Um, it's one of those tactical battle games, not like a
Oh,
Warcraft,
okay.
more like a Heroes of Might and Magic type game. I've had it forever. I've got a few of them, and I never played
It's
them.
an old game, isn't it old?
Yeah, it's old. It still does the full resolution of my 4K screen, but the graphics are pixel graphics. Well, no, they may
Mhm.
be 3D. They're not anything special, but it's fun. I've used cheats on it just to keep moving because it was more of a challenge than I liked at the beginning, and
Mm.
so I gave myself a little leg up because that's what I wanted to do. And I've just been kind of enjoying running around, killing things, and getting equipment. And the the storylines are kind of what they are. It's nothing to write home about. It's not going to win any awards
Mhm.
for it, but it's enjoyable if you're looking for a little tactical combat game. It's a pretty game, and I'm sure it's pretty cheap right now.
Cool. That sounds like something that would be interesting to at least check out. I'm not familiar at all with King's Bounty other than having heard the name before. So I'm glad that you found an interesting little game to check out in your extra free time.
Yeah, if they're on Steam sale and they're cheap, pick them up and throw some time in there if that's the kind of game that
Mhm.
you like. If you're a fan of the old Heroes of Might and Magic type games.
Right. So anything else on your list?
Nope. What are you playing?
Yeah, so I will start with my big one for the week. I finally got to play Demeo Battlemarked. Now, let me ask you first, Byron. Do you know this game or Demeo at all? Are you familiar with it?
Never heard of it.
So, Demeo is it's basically D&D but with a real board in the game. So, it's actually designed as a VR game and then they made a non-VR version of it. And there's a board in the middle and it's like a an environment, like a setting, and it's got monsters and ladders and chests and all these things that you would imagine in your brain as like an imaginary thing in a D&D Dungeons and Dragons setting, right? But it's actually created on the screen for you. And then you have your character piece and anyone that you're playing with has a character piece. It's up to 4 players and then all the enemies are character pieces as well. And the one that I played was Battlemarked. So Demeo itself was just a dungeon crawler. You just go through dungeons, 3 stages, two dungeon levels, and then a boss encounter. And now they teamed up with Wizards of the Coast, who's featured heavily in this episode. Wizards of the Coast, my goodness. And they made an official D&D game. It has characters and campaigns and things from the Forgotten Realms and maybe other universes. I don't know. I only got half the campaign done. Like I said, you can play it single player, but it really shines in the multiplayer. I played with Lord Cognito of the Iron Lords and Defining Duke podcasts and a couple of other guys for about 5 hours on Friday night. We had a blast. We started at 10:30 p.m.
Good
and we
lord.
ended around we ended around 4, give or take, a little bit before 4. We got halfway through the newest campaign that they released. I played as a sorcerer. Um, Yeah. So ask me questions. What do you want to know about this game?
It sounds like Gloomhaven. It sounds
It
like
is
the video
kind of
game Gloomhaven even.
it is kind of like Gloomhaven, except it is 3D in that you can change the camera angles and examine the environments and see things more. Uh, and it has the VR capability, so you could actually can like lift your pieces and move them and whatnot. And you have spells and item cards, and you pick up gold and you run around. And basically, in this particular campaign that we did, Frostclaw, I think is the name of the campaign, something like that. And we're in the Icewind Dales region of the Forgotten Realms, and we are going through, and we had to like fight a slotty or a slod, one of the lizard slug things that exists, and it was shape shifting and tricking people. And then we went and killed it. Like that was the basics of what it was there. And you have like a town that you can go to where there's a couple people. It's interesting in that it is designed for multiplayer, but only one person can do things when you're in the town,
Mm.
and that's a little bit meh about it, but it's still really fun. And it's one of those games where you're just like hanging with your bros and you're shooting the wind and just having fun. And it's actually kind of tough. We were just, chatting for the first maybe hour while we were getting into the game and doing like the introductory basic stuff. And then we got to like the first real map, and we almost lost because we were not paying close enough attention to what the actual rule was, because the task was fight the main guy, and they were just going to keep spawning the ads the whole time, and everyone else is like killing the ads, and I'm focusing the boss. I'm like, I think we got to kill the boss here. And then you kill the boss and he revives himself, and he's like, "Arr, you did the damage to me." Arr. But it's progressing the phase, and you do it 3 times, and the third time he's done, you win. But it was just funny that we were having such a relaxing time, and then we actually got into the level itself, and we had to pay attention because it was tough. It was tough, but it was fun.
It honestly looks like Gloomhaven with Orcs Must Die graphics.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison, having familiarity with both of those games. And it's fun. It's a really fun time. Does this interest you? Would you be interested in trying a game like this?
Oh, I this is right down my alley of something that I would enjoy.
Yeah. It does have cross play, so you can play across consoles and PC and stuff. So you could buy it on PC, and I could play it on my PS5 and have no issues with it, which is cool.
But not at 10:30 at night. I can't.
No, not 10:30 at night. Honestly, I don't normally start playing games that late, but the leader, Cog, he was running late from recording some long podcasts, and he had to hit the gym, and he didn't get home until like 10 already, at 9:30 or 10. So we were originally scheduled to start at like 8, which would have been a better time for you, but still probably couldn't have played 5 hours at 8 o'clock.
Nope.
So that was fun. We had a really good time. We're gonna finish that campaign at some point and play more, but I think we should try playing it together. That might be a fun game for us to play, or maybe do a joint stream where
Yeah.
we're both playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a technical question there. I know how to stream myself, and I could teach you how to stream. I don't know without getting an editor how we could stream together, though. That would be interesting. Unless we just had different streams going on at the same time in the same channel, or did it in Twitch. I don't know. Something to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. But that's Demeo. There's Demeo, and then there's Demeo Battlemarked. So for people who are interested, Demeo is dungeon crawling only. I do own that, but you do not get a discount, or it's not a DLC or anything. Demeo Battlemarked is an own separate purchase, $30 right now on PSN. Its full price is $30, so it'll go on sale. It'll be cheaper at some point, I'm sure. It only just came out recently, but it
November
was
20th.
a blast.
Yeah, $30 on Steam. Steam sale for the winter is coming up soon, so maybe we'll see what comes out with that.
Yeah, it was a blast. We had a really great time, and I look forward to playing it some more, and maybe try and playing it by myself and actually pay attention to the storyline that's going on and whatnot. Because when you're not in control of the dialogue, you're not, you don't want to keep people, slow them down, and you're not making the dialogue choices, because there are dialogue choices like skill checks and stuff in there. That's really fun. But if you're not the one in control, you're kind of just watching and hoping, which can still be fun. Watching people make dice rolls is always a good time. That's why people like to gamble. So that's a Demeo for me, Demeo
Yep.
Battlemarked. And then the other game that I've been playing, aside from Where Winds Meet, which I put some more time into and some Genshin Impact and stuff, is I put a bit more time into Trails in the Sky first chapter. I have to say, this game is still kind of tough sometimes, but I'm learning. I am learning. They set you up with like optional tough battles that make you really learn the game. For example, I was running around this new area and I came across a hidden cave. I think it's literally called like Hidden Cave or something. And I went inside and there was just this giant swarm of enemies there, and they were all in one big circular platform. And I just had to figure it out. I ran in, I charged in. It took me like 40 minutes last night to get this done between like retries. And one thing I did realize, it's kind of like a cheesing of the game, is you go and you can do your action combat first, right, Byron? Like you stun them and you do damage, and then you enter turn based. I talked about that previously on it. But you, if you are able to get yourself in the right position, can actually flee from the turn based, heal your characters in combat while still in the action combat. You can go into your healing setting and heal all your characters, re-attack them and re-stun them, and then re-enter turn based again and try and give yourself a new, like a better setup. And that's only possible for open world exploration encounters. You can't do that in like boss fights and stuff. But in the open optional encounters like that, you can do that. So I definitely ended up doing that accidentally at first. I didn't mean to leave the battle. I just approached the edge of the battle zone and I exited. I guess I left my character there.
Hmm.
And before I knew it, I was out of there. And it actually sucked because I was in a really good spot and then I accidentally exited and then I got into a really bad spot and I had to reload the game.
So that's not uncommon in a game where you have an open world ish combat and they don't reset their hit points between
Oh
engagements.
no, their hit points reset.
Oh, I mean, no, I mean with the ones that you can stun the that aren't bosses, you said like it sounds like those don't reset.
No, they reset.
Oh, well then what's the benefit of doing that?
That they don't respawn. So if they're dead, they're dead,
Yeah.
and then you can go and heal yourself outside of the turns and get your health back up to
Oh, so
full.
I gotcha. Yeah, similar idea.
Yeah, it's like chipping away at it. It is a similar idea. Yeah, it's just the only difference is that they don't keep their health points lost. At least I didn't think that. I didn't notice that it looked like their health points were all back. That's all I can say. So they get their health points back, but the enemies that died are dead. They're not coming back. So you can run, heal yourself quick, because in the turn-based mode, your heals can be interrupted if you like, because it's a spell cast, and sometimes the heal spells are usually instant, but they're not always instant. Like the AoE heal is not an instant spell, so you have to wait. And then if you get interrupted, you don't get healed, and then you're stuck, you're screwed. So if you run out, you can heal yourself really quick using the menu healing option, and then you run back in and start the combat again. And it kind of just resets the turn order because one of the things that want to talk about was that the turn order here is kind of based on luck. It seems completely random in that you can have an advantage attack. So essentially, you go in, you do your regular melee, you stun the enemies, and then uh, you go into the attack combat, the turn-based mode, and you have an advantage so that they're stunned for the first round, and you can get like a super attack to open up with, basically. And uh, only the enemy that is stunned in the open action combat is stunned in the turn based. So they'll be stunned, but if you didn't stun everybody, everyone else is just going to go and wail on you if they're faster, if they have a higher speed value. So sometimes it's just totally random as to who is where in the turn order. Uh, Insofar as each single reload can change your turn order. So you if you fail in the battle, there's just a retry option. You'll just start the battle exactly where the battle started. You just try it again, exactly as you were. So if your battle opens up with your super attack, the bonus that you get, you'll open up with the bonus, and then it'll be the turn order. And it can go you and then three enemies and then your next character. Or you could do the exact same thing and it'll start with three characters and then your two characters back to back, and you'll get hit three times in a row. So I don't know how that's all determined. It is very luck based.
That's what save scumming's for.
It is. It is save scumming. What save scumming is for, and I try to remember to manually save before I get into any potentially difficult scuffs with these enemies. But it's still really great. I really am enjoying this. I need to get, now that everyone's out of my house and I've got some quiet time, and when we're done here, I will have time to go and do some laundry and play this game today. That is my plan. Really dive into it. and try and get as much progress done before it becomes time for Pirate Yakuza, which will be sometime this month. Are you at all any more interested in Trails
Nope.
now that I've yeah,
Nope,
okay.
not at all. Sorry. I'd rather
Good,
play
good.
King's Bounty, I think.
Well, you hadn't played that before, so
I have not. Or had not, but I have now.
you have now. That's all right. I understand. But that'll do for what I've been playing. I don't have, like I said, Where Winds Meet. I put some more time into that in the evenings. It's fun. Uh, I'm trying to play more because I want to make sure that I have a comprehensive view of the game before I write anything. If I write something on it, which I want to do, and then Genshin is Genshin. Always doing my Genshin stuff.
I'm always playing Magic
That's
the
it for my
Gathering.
game. Yeah,
I play Arena
exactly.
every week. We didn't touch on it, but their last week on Sunday they did finish up the Magic World Championship. So I forget the guy who won it, but it was his second win. So maybe something
Were
to
you
bring it.
happy for him, or were you rooting against him?
I'm not attached to any of them. I like one.
Oh, okay.
I One of the big problems they've had in Magic is in the recent past is they've had a couple of cards that have dominated things, and
Hmm.
one of them was the Magic print of Vivi from Nine. Final Fantasy Nine, yeah, the Black Mage character.
Yeah, I
It
know
was
Vivi.
absurd. And it dominated the tours so much that I believe like 75 to 80% of the decks were using the VV card and they banned it. Um, but that archetype was still powerful enough that some sort of it, based off of the lessons from Avatar, dominated this one, and it was close to 75% of the, I guess, the top eight decks were Is It Colors red and blue lesson decks, which probably doesn't mean anything to you, but the people who know
Nope.
Magic might know what I'm talking about. So it'll be interesting. I don't like any standard. That's what the most current play generation is. It's the current 3 years of cards. Is I
Hmm.
don't like any standard where one thing dominates so much. I like to have a variety in what you see, and it gets old whenever you're playing and you're seeing so much of this or that.
Yeah, I mean, no, anytime you're doing anything multiplayer, there's always going to be a meta. There's always a meta that's like the best version. It's just you want to have as many metas as possible, you know? I remember Overwatch being the meta was always you needed the Mercy because she had that like massive revive, and if you didn't have Mercy, you weren't playing it right in the original Overwatch in that first like year or two. Um, yeah, I understand that feeling for sure. But I'm glad that the tournament happened and that you got to watch it and
Yeah,
enjoyed it. And I think that
it's always
makes it
fun.
time to move into our wild card segment. So,
Yeah.
Byron, I'm going to toss it to you again.
So yeah, so we've talked a lot about remakes recently, and it continues to be a news topic because Marvel announced that they're bringing Avengers Endgame back to the theaters. What's your thought on movie re-releases? Do you like them? Are you against them?
No, I am pro re-releases because I do believe that the movie going experience is still a unique thing in and of itself that you can kind of replicate at home, but you don't quite need it when you're at home. And there are some movies that are just fun to see on a big screen like that, like in Avengers Endgame. So I am pro their existence. I am against counting their money towards a film's box office total, though. I think that's cheating. I
Agreed.
call them cheaters.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go see Avengers Endgame in the theaters. I liked the movie. I like superhero movies. I'll watch it at home. It's
But
not
did you see
this.
it in theaters ever?
Yes, I most certainly
See,
did.
that's the thing. And that's the point is I like them being re-released for the opportunity for those who missed them.
Yeah, but so in my mind, there's a difference in the quality and epicness of movies. Avengers Endgame is a fantastic movie. The kind of movies that I want to see re-released is every few years, I'd love to go watch Star Wars on the big screen again. That's a big enough of a movie. Like, I don't care about Titanic. I love James Cameron, but I can understand re-releasing Titanic every once in a while because it is that epic movie that deserves to be seen on a big screen. And the other thing about seeing things in theaters is not just the screens and the sound systems. It's the experience with other people, hearing other people
Hmm.
react to things,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I'd like to go see ET again in a theater. When they re-released Star Wars back in the 2000s, they had the ad that Steven Spielberg bought that had ET putting the crown on R2D2's head because they were the new box office leader because they counted the re-release money for it. But ET's the quality of a movie that I would love to go see in the theaters. I'm a big Aliens fan. I'd love to go see Aliens or Alien in the movie theater. I've seen all the recent ones, all the prequelish Aliens in theaters.
Right, the Prometheus and the
Yeah,
Alien Covenant and all that. Yeah.
yeah, I love those. And Ares, is it not Ares? Ares is Tron. Romulus, I saw in the theaters, and yeah, that was fantastic. But those are the kinds of movies. Like, also, Endgame was just out. It's been 5 years, I guess, but it's not Star Wars. It wasn't from the 70s and the 80s.
It's
So
been 6. It's 2019.
yeah,
They
close
said, yeah,
enough.
but yeah.
It kind of feels like they're just trying to make money as easily as possible, and I don't know. I'd rather them
I
make some
don't.
good Avengers type movies. They tried. Thunderbolts was fantastic. I love Thunderbolts, but I understand why it
Thunderbolts is
didn't
good.
catch on the same as Avengers did. The characters weren't as lovable as the ones in Avengers. People don't.
Yeah, well, they're not intended to be. They're supposed to be bad
But
guys.
no, I mean not lovable as in you love the characters. I mean just you don't attach to them the same way. Um,
Right.
Everybody knows Thor and Hulk and Iron Man and Captain America, and whether you know it or not, there's one that you like more than others. With the Thunderbolts, that wasn't the same thing. And there's just been so much crap recently. I did not watch Morbius. I did not watch that, mainly because I don't like Jared Leto. Um, I did not watch the Spider Woman one. It got
Well,
such
those are
bad
so
reviews.
that's all.
Those are
Those
Sony
are all
ones.
Sony.
Yeah, but
Yeah, those are Sony Spider Verse. Yeah, Madam Web is the one you're. Yeah.
yeah, there's just been so
So
much tripe in those. But yeah,
so I agree with you in that it's probably too soon for Endgame to be re-released. It doesn't need to be put back in theaters yet. But I would posit that it is the kind of movie that should be back in theaters eventually,
but do it
along the lines of the Star Wars. But like in a
sure,
decade, like the 10th anniversary for it, you don't do it like the 6th
and do it
anniversary.
back
Like
to
that's
back with Infinity War.
yeah, yeah, I agree. That'd be fun to have like that double screening and whatnot. I think I saw the other day that they are re-releasing Star Wars in theaters and they're doing
Mm-hmm.
the original cuts for the first time in like 40 years.
And honestly, as much as I say I would like to see Infinity War and Endgame at the same time, I don't know that I could sit through all three Star Wars in the same day. If I could do it in 3 different days, sure. I
Well,
don't.
that's what I did with Spider-Man when they had the Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 re-release. 3 different days back to back. I went over to the movie theater and I watched Spider-Man 1, then I watched Spider-Man 2, and then I watched Spider-Man 3 back in September, I want to say that was.
But there are people who will sit through all three directors' cuts of Lord of the Rings, and I don't get it. Like
I was very tempted to go see Kill Bill the re-release that
the
the whole
whole,
bloody
yeah.
affair. I've not. I wanted to see it. But time is so limited, and I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters. But I would definitely want to see that because I love Kill Bill, and that new animated short that they've added in there. That's supposed to be interesting.
I didn't see that part,
Um,
but yeah, I'm. Even with the news from Quentin Tarantino this week, I'm still a Quentin Tarantino movie fan.
which news? I don't remember.
He badmouthed some actors this
Oh
week.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I
and
remember.
it feels kind of trashy, but it'd be hard pressed to say Quentin Tarantino isn't somebody without opinions.
No, I mean he's always been a jerk. My dad, as much as my dad loves his movies, he hates him because he always was bad mouthing NYPD. He always had bad things to say about the cops, and he never, obviously that was a thing that my parents didn't appreciate. Um, so I think that that's my stance on re-releases. They did announce Lord of the Rings re-release is coming soon. I've never seen Lord of the Rings ever, so I've got those on my calendar to go and see whatever they're putting in theaters with Jing. I asked her if she wanted to go. She said she'd go.
The movies are good. I don't like the books. I don't like Tolkien's writing
I've never read the
style.
books either.
Um, I acknowledge their place in fantasy. It's probably the most important work in all of fantasy. Period. End of story. The movies are fantastic, but they're long, and like 3 hours caps out at a movie for me. So the people who can watch 4 hours of the director's cut,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Did you see the news about Narnia? That came out the other day, or I think it was sometime earlier in the week.
No,
Did you see that?
no, and I did watch the
Oh,
recent Narnia movies because I love Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, and I guess
yeah, I
the
do
first
too.
few of them are fantastic. They get less so.
Yeah, sorry, I'm pulling up the thing that I saw that I just need to share what it said. It was fascinating. Yeah, okay. So it was a quote from the IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond on the upcoming Greta Gerwig Narnia, because Greta Gerwig is doing the new Narnia stuff,
Is
right?
she the Hurt Locker?
No,
That's another lady.
Greta Gerwig is Lady Bird
Okay.
and Barbie.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he says, "This is not your mother's or your grandmother's Narnia. The music in it is unbelievably contemporary music. I'm not going to say specifically, but things like Pink Floyd and The Doors."
Hmm.
And that was shared by a friend of mine, Richard Hoglaw. He said, "Yeah, my mother and grandmother actually liked Narnia. And for the record, books don't have music, contemporary or otherwise." And I thought that was a funny quote. So I responded to him and I said, "Hogue, I have never read a more horrifying retweet in my entire life. Happy Friday." Yeah, that is terrifying to me. I love Narnia. I've read all of those books. I love the movies that, the trilogy of movies that came out with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian and even Dawn Treader. So I love Greta Gerwig as well. I don't think she's a good fit for Narnia. I don't think that she's gonna do a good job on Narnia. She's gonna make it Greta Gerwiggy, which is good in some ways. I think Lady Bird is. Have you seen Lady Bird?
I have not. I've seen Barbie.
Uh,
I love Barbie.
Barbie. Barbie's good. Barbie's very good. Lady Bird is the one with Siobhan Ronan, the Irish girl, who has the name that is spelled in a way that is not at all how it sounds for non-Irish speakers.
SIOB, whatever is how you spell it,
Yeah,
though. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, so I love Lady Bird, and I really love, really enjoyed Barbie. I don't love Barbie. I enjoyed Barbie a lot, and so I think this will be interesting. I'll check it out for sure. Uh, Not to get too off topic here, talking Narnia, but I just saw that we were talking about the re-releases and all
It
of
kind
that
of
stuff.
fits
So
in. It's a
yeah, for
remake,
sure.
re-release. Um, if it's good, I'd
I
like
think
to see it. I don't
I
always.
think it was a Netflix show. I thought it was a Netflix show. Maybe they're changing it.
Huh.
Maybe it's something different.
Well, I mean, Netflix may be a movie studio proper coming up soon. So,
That's true.
um,
Good way to wrap around.
yeah, I don't always love whenever they bring contemporary music into period type movies, but there was a Knight's Tale maybe 20 years ago, and I didn't love it as much as everybody else did.
24. I think it's 2001.
But I mean, it was fine. So I'll keep an open mind on Narnia because I do like Narnia.
Yeah. Have you read the books for it?
Uh,
2001. I was right. For Knight's Tale.
I read the books before you were born, and not all of them. I probably read the first. Probably Voyage of the Dawn Treader was the last one that I read. I mean, there was like what,
Okay.
seven
There's
of
only
them?
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 7. Yeah, because there's Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Dawn Treader, Silver Chair, Magician's Nephew, and I'm blanking on the others.
Return
The
of the
other
King
two.
and Into
The
the
Final
Spider Verse.
Battle, the Final Battle, and then there's one more that I'm blanking on. I did pretty good considering I haven't read those books in a long time. But yeah, those they're good. They're excellent books. Oh, The Horse and His Boy. No wonder
Oh,
I
the
forgot
horse.
The Horse and
Yeah,
His Boy. I hate that one. That's the worst one. I don't hate it, but that is the worst one in my mind.
I think they went
Because that's the
downhill from
one.
the beginning.
Well, that's the weird one. That's the one that's like set outside of Narnia. That's set, in the neighboring kingdom. So, yeah, enjoy those books and those movies, and I hope that the Narnia that Greta Gerwig makes is good. Re-releases, pro re-releases, but stop counting their box office totals. I think that's our our summary here.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
That'll do it for the show here, right? I
Well,
guess, yeah, because
yeah, because there's no upcoming games. There's drips and drabs of little things coming out, but nothing really
yeah,
big. It's Christmas time, so I think we've said it before. If it's not out by now, it's probably not going to get bought for Christmas. So people are taking their time.
yeah, Christmas is 11 days from our recording date here. So I hope you're ready. I actually just got a gift from my grandmother in it arrived today this morning that I ordered. It's really cool. I'll talk about that later because she may hear this at some point if my mom shows her the podcast, and I don't want her to know.
For your grandmother, not from your grandmother, because your grandmother's getting you
Yeah,
shoes,
for my grandmother. Yeah, hopefully she's getting me
and you
shoes.
can throw out the
Hopefully.
old
Yeah.
ones.
I probably won't throw them out because the shoes are actually still fine. It's the laces. The laces have fallen apart, and I can't. I called the company, and the company couldn't tell me what size lace I need
Well, you
or where to get them.
so you can take the laces out and measure them, and there's probably stores in the greater Orlando area that sell shoelaces, and there's probably a
I
wide
could.
selection of them.
They're so small because they're dress shoes. I don't know how to. I don't know what to measure them with. I'd have to find a store to
A
measure them and then
ruler,
buy them.
a ruler would work. So, and the other thing is,
For thickness, a ruler wouldn't work for
you can
thickness.
eyeball it. Where I live is like a tenth of the size of Orlando, like directly High Point is, and I know where a cobbler is in High Point, so you could probably
Great. Do
find one.
you want to buy me some shoelaces?
You send me the shoes, and I can go out and look, but then you'll have to
I
go
can do you
around
one better. I'll
barefooted.
send you the laces. No, when I called the company for one shoe that when it first broke, he was like, "Yeah, we usually send people to this place here." And I was like, "Well, do you know how thick they are?" And he was like, "Nah, I can't really figure it out." Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you don't sell your they're Johnston and Murphy. They're nice shoes. They don't have the information or the shoelaces. It was very frustrating. They're just like buy new shoes.
Well, good luck in your nightmare.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
And thank you to everyone else who listened into the show here. We appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, give us feedback. We're still always changing things. I don't know what our recording time is going to be because we cut off a little bit with my tab crashing for some reason. But hopefully we are a good length here and everyone
Yep.
is enjoying the show. And thanks for me. Byron, let's close it out. Over to you.
Yeah, I'll be doing live streaming probably Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. Do you want to give out your socials before we wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at Joseph_Law_Russa on Twitter/X. You can find me at Don Lionheart on Season Gaming for my writing. I will have something on Where Winds Meet. I put far too much time into this game to not write something on it in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. Byron, your socials, Radio Free Europe, I
Oh, Blue
believe,
Sky. That's the only one.
with with
E's instead
threes
of
instead of
three.
E.
Yeah, threes instead of E's on free. Yep, that's me.
All right,
All right.
sounds good.
And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening this week. And remember, whether it's your gen, my gen, or someone else's, friends can be cross generation.
Take care, all.
Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, we're at an hour and a half.